Hey guys, welcome to the Driveway Liberty podcast. We've got a special announcement that we'll be presenting here in a little bit. First off, let me go with some good news. The good news right now is that we will be moving into a studio. So the Driveway Liberty podcast will be still the Driveway Liberty podcast and Driveway Liberty Media, but we will be actually in a studio so we don't have to fight yellow flies this summer.
Just in time.
Just in time, right?
I just got bit the other day.
Right? So with that being said, we're not going to do a full cast tonight. I was involved in an accident this morning, so I'm not totally cognizant and aware. Not that these guys wouldn't have a very interesting conversation without me involved. However, we're going to, after we get done with our announcement, we're going to sit in the driveway and just hang out like buddies do. And, it's kind of a scary situation for me this morning. So that's just kind of what we're going to do here in a minute. But before we do that.
To chime in on that, from a person with a outside view, Wes is doing a very good job right now, but it was a very bad situation, and us trying to do a coherent cast with the way Wes is trying to kind of keep it together. And,
Yeah.
We're just going to give him a break tonight because, it was life flashed before your eyes.
Yeah, it was
your
a scary
daughter's
scenario.
wife flashed before
Yeah.
your eyes kind of scenario. So we're going to give Wes a little break, and we're going to talk about what we're drinking tonight.
Yeah, let's the only music you get to hear tonight other than closing theme is this.
It is time for beer reviews. Beer reviews. Beer reviews.
All right, so we usually do the beer reviews later, but we wanted Mary Howard to have to sit through this. Because she always gives me a hard time about fast forwarding through the beer reviews. So Daniel, what you got, man?
So I made my weekly trek to the local place that has probably the most diverse, different kinds of beer, at least in our general area, although it's priced out of control. So I didn't find anything that jumped out of the shelf on me, so I went to a one that I previously drank, and plus now that we're going to be kind of chilling out and drinking this tonight, I'm glad I bought this one. So I'm drinking Truck Stop Honey.
Kind of ironic.
Yeah, Truck Stop. And Wes's truck was stopped today.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
And it was not a sweet situation.
No, it was not.
So
There's no honey
this thing's
involved.
got 6% IBV, and it's got a little chocolate taste to it and honey.
That's a
it
damn good
is
beer.
it is a dessert type beer. It is delicious.
Right. So, Trav, what you got over there, buddy?
Well, in honor of our special announcement, I went and wanted to get something hyper local, and so I got the Third Planet, which is in Niceville. They do a good job.
Yeah.
They makes
Yeah.
the dank side of the moon.
Right? Yeah,
Pretty
that's a
darn
good beer.
But this is the Bear Creek Brown, the Oatmeal Brown Ale, in honor of Wes's upcoming band gig at the Outpost on Bear Creek.
Right? Yeah.
Right. So we just.
I thought you were gonna say in honor of the color of Wes's shorts today.
So.
Yeah, and speaking of which, you're welcome to come out to the Outpost. That is May 6th. That's 12 to 4, so it's a daytime thing. And we'll keep the language to a minimum, but no promises. If you're bringing kids, I would actually recommend not bringing kids.
Then again, maybe you won't.
Right. Yeah. So that being said, I am also drinking, it's not hyper local, but it is a local beer out of Tampa. I'm drinking the Fancy Papers IPA. Somebody gave me a scare with the ownership of Miller Lite, so I went on and got it.
Did some research.
I had to do the research, but I'd already bought the beer by the time I did the research. So it's a 6.5% IBV, and it's not my favorite Cigar City beer. My favorite is their High Life, but it's still pretty good.
Beer, yeah.
Yeah, High Life was a little more ABV. Is the reason I got the Fancy Papers. I didn't want to get totally trashed. I've been a little emotional today. I love you, man.
And he's following it up with this.
Yeah, right.
He's a little sore.
There you go. So with that being said, guys, let's go with good news first. We will be moving into a studio, as I said before, and we will also be adding after June 1st. We'll be adding a sports show to the Driveway Liberty Media lineup, and we will also be adding a local show at the end of the lineup. And I'll come back and discuss the local show in just a minute. But unfortunately, I got to go to Travis for the bad news. So
as of the end of May, I will be leaving Driveway Liberty Podcast and Driveway Liberty Media. No, like one reason, it's kind of a conglomeration, but as I explained to Dan and Wes, it's been weighing on me a lot. But really, since kind of the fall, kind of post primaries last year, just heart probably hasn't been in it, and maybe you've seen some of that. And it's not that there's no one issue, right? I'm not mad at Dan. I mean, I can be mad at Wes from time to time, of course.
Sure.
Nobody can be mad at me.
And it's not some other issues, and I feel like it's time for me to maybe do some things behind the scenes as opposed to being out in front of the fight. Let Driveway Liberty get back into the local stuff. So it's not like things are going away. Not like nobody will ever see me again. Not like I won't ever be on Driveway Liberty again. I'm sure they'll sporadically have me back, but
yeah, absolutely.
On a week-to-week, podcast-to-podcast basis, probably the week before Memorial Day will kind of be my last week, and maybe we should end it with a whiskey cast and just go out in style.
Good. I like that idea. I like that idea.
But again, I'll tell you what. I really want to say thank you to you guys. What I told you guys repeatedly is the part about sitting in the driveway with my friends and drinking beer and chewing the fat is the part that's probably kept me around the longest. Talking about the politics and all that stuff is what made it a little bit worse. But also, the people that we follow and we've been engaged with, I'm not going anywhere. You're still going to see me. I'll probably be more involved in some other things now, a little bit more behind the scenes. But I appreciate everybody that follows and shares and listens, and has sent us stuff. It's truly been a great experience. I'm just kind of one of those people that once my heart's out of it, I'm not really that fake it till you make it guy. That's not. I wish I was more sometimes, but yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. It's been a great run. I think we've, for a bunch of yahoos sitting in a driveway with minimal equipment and things like that, to have people like Matt Gaetz on, and the local politicians we've had, and some of the local effects that we've been able to have. I think I walk away with my head held up high, thinking we've accomplished quite a bit for what we've done, right? And kind of our setup. We don't have the big money, and we don't have some big giant support, or the algorithms aren't helping us, but we have been able to make a difference, and I feel a little bit like my presence keeps us from making as much a difference as possible, and that's just the reality, right? Sucks, but that is true. So yeah, that's probably the bad days.
Well, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. I'm not really trying to speak for Dan when I say this. Travis, you've been a big part of what we do here, and it's really, in all honesty and earnest, I'm not just saying this on the air, I would say this off the air. And you know me, I'm not one for flowery speech when it comes to shit like this, but it's going to leave a hole in what we do, because I feel like the chemistry with us three is something that's immeasurable. I mean, you can't really quantify it, but I think it makes it has sincerely, and I mean this, and this is the only nice thing I'm going to say about you tonight, is there was a chemistry that worked, and I thought really we've struggled in our conversation since you told us to to try to come up with an action plan and an idea as to how we're going to make up the loss of you not being part of the cast. And we won't speak about this on the air anymore until your last night when we do the whiskey cast. You're definitely not going to miss that because it's just going to be a total shit show. We've tried 2 of them in the past,
Right.
and we never aired them. So, you know, we will air this one. We'll actually do this one live. So, you know, I think I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. You,
No, I mean I've already expressed it off air, and even when we talked about this, when Travis let us know later on in the evening, I kind of was asking him. I'm like, look, you're
a huge part.
significant portion of the show.
Yeah.
I think the dynamic that you bring is completely different than the dynamic that each of us brings, and I think all of us are different, obviously. But the way you look at things and the way you process things is completely different than me. Although we may end up in the same place in
Right.
the end, getting there
Yeah.
are 2 different roads, and it's going to change the show.
Sure.
Sure. Absolutely.
So,
and
know-
we've got to figure out how to make that up. Really, we do, because it's a loss. It's like a football team losing their star quarterback. Not that you are the star quarterback of this football team, but or
yeah,
essential
it's like a
lineman.
left tackle or a
Yeah,
star running back.
Well, look,
Backup
I-
punter.
Look,
You know,
I've thought a lot about. I've thought a lot about Van Halen, right? Like, you know, David Lee Roth leaves, and oh my God, how, you know, and then Sammy Hagar comes in,
Right.
And, you know,
Yeah,
maybe.
well,
and
we're still
kills
looking
it.
for Sammy, though.
Yeah, right.
Right, yeah.
I don't think they found him overnight,
No,
right?
no,
It
no,
took-
no, no,
It took a minute
took
to
them
go
a
from
minute.
David Lee Roth to I can't drive 55, right? So,
Right, yeah.
You know, I mean, it is what it is.
absolutely. It
No,
is.
and you know, my intent was never, and I told you guys, was never to kill this, because I think there's so much good that has come and will continue to come from Driveway Liberty. I think just my time being a part of it on a full-time basis, you know, is just come to an end. It is what it is. 3 great years. I've had a blast. I mean, look, we had one of the most powerful sitting congressmen in the United States sitting in the driveway,
Right.
drinking beer with us,
Making fun of Dan's garden,
making fun
shitty
of
garden.
Dan's garden.
Yeah.
You know, to act like there's been no accomplishments, or we're walking away, or I'm walking away empty-handed. That's not the case at all. I just, there's other factors besides how I feel that just, I think, prohibit us from being as maximally effective as we can be.
There you go. So man, obviously we're not, because of the events of the day and the fact that we're announcing this, we're not going to get into politics tonight, but I would like to say this in closing. Trey Nick, we want you to be the first guest on our local podcast. You can reach me at wes@wesherndon.com. We'll be cordial, we'll be fair. Come on the show.
We're just looking for your side of things.
Yes.
We want to hear what you have to say.
So if you know Trey Nick, be sure to pass that along to him, that we want him to be our first guest on the local podcast. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this special announcement. For Travis and Dan, I am your Uncle Wes, and we will see you next week on the Driveway Liberty podcast.
You are so